Does this sound familiar? Your doctor prescribed antibiotics. You diligently finished the whole course. The illness is gone. But instead of relief, you're hit with bloating, discomfort, and a general feeling that something is terribly wrong inside. It feels like a real war just took place down there. And guess what? You are absolutely right. Today we're going to break down exactly what happens to your gut after this kind of carpet bombing. And most importantly, what you need to be eating to restore balance and rebuild your internal world from scratch. I'm not just going to cover the rescue foods, but also the dietary saboteurs on your plate that can turn recovery into a nightmare. Watch this video until the end to discover the key secret to a healthy microbiome. The one thing that will change the way you approach nutrition. By the way, share in the comments. What were the weirdest side effects you experienced after taking antibiotics? I'm sure we'll gather an amazing collection of cautionary tales. To figure out how to fix something, you first have to understand what broke. Don't think of your gut merely as an organ, but as a vast, bustling, densely populated metropolis. It's home to trillions of microscopic inhabitants, bacteria, fungi, and viruses. This is your microbiome. In a healthy city, most residents are law-abiding citizens. They help you digest food, produce vitamins, train your immune system, and even influence your mood. But there are also minor troublemakers, the pathogenic bacteria. As long as the good guys outnumber them, they keep these troublemakers in check. Now, imagine an atomic bomb being dropped on this city. That's what antibiotics are. Their mission is to destroy the bad bacteria that caused your illness. But they aren't selective about who's right or wrong. They wipe out everything, friends and foes alike. The result? Your thriving metropolis turns into scorched earth. This state is known as dysbiosis, or severe gut imbalance. And here's the problem. Nature abhors a vacuum. This cleared territory is now ripe for takeover by those initial troublemakers and outright bandits. Our crucial mission is to stop them and repopulate the city with the beneficial residents. All right, our primary mission, the priority number one, is a resettlement operation. We need a landing force of new, friendly inhabitants to rebuild this shattered landscape. These courageous troops are called probiotics, living microorganisms that actively benefit our bodies. When you consume probiotic foods, you are essentially sending reinforcements straight to your gut. They arrive at the site and immediately start cleaning house. They push out the harmful bacteria that have multiplied in the vacuum left behind. They help restore the intestinal lining, which also takes a serious hit from antibiotics. And finally, they start generating beneficial substances, such as short-chain fatty acids, the essential fuel for your gut cells. The most famous and readily available source for these tiny helpers is, of course, yogurt. Grocery store aisles are overflowing with colorful little containers. But here is where we encounter the first and most common mistake, one that can completely negate all your best efforts. Imagine an animation on screen. Cute bacteria wearing construction helmets and carrying tools parachute down into a ruined city. Let's talk about yogurt. Not all options are created equal when it comes to health benefits. That brightly colored packaging promising bio or live cultures doesn't actually guarantee anything. Remember the golden rule. Your number one enemy when trying to restore your gut flora is sugar. Most store-bought yogurts, especially those with fruit fillings, jams, and syrups, contain a staggering amount of sugar, and sugar is the favorite food source for pathogenic bacteria and fungi, such as Candida. This creates a paradox. You're trying to populate your gut with beneficial bacteria, but you're simultaneously feeding the enemy army. In the end, you aren't fixing the problem. You're only making the existing imbalance worse. Therefore, your best choice is natural, unsweetened, additive-free yogurt, often referred to as Greek yogurt, or simply plain. Always read the ingredients carefully. The list should include nothing more than milk and a starter of live bacterial cultures. Look for names like Lactobacillus bulgaricus and Streptococcus thermophilus on the label. This type of yogurt usually has a short shelf life, and that's a good sign. It confirms that the bacteria inside are truly alive. On screen, display an infographic comparing the ingredients of a sweet fruit yogurt and a natural yogurt, highlighting the sugar content in red. Think of it this way. If yogurt is the rank-and-file soldier in the probiotic army, kefir is the elite special forces unit. This fermented milk drink, made using unique kefir grains, contains a far broader spectrum of beneficial bacteria and yeasts than standard yogurt. We're talking up to 30 to 50 different strains. This kind of diversity is key to building a strong and resilient gut ecosystem. Different bacteria types perform different functions, and the more diverse specialists you have working for you, the better the entire system operates. Kefir doesn't just help populate your gut. It also possesses antibacterial properties that work against certain harmful microbes. For instance, it contains the unique strain Lactobacillus kefiri, which studies show can help suppress the growth of pathogens like Salmonella and H. pylori. Beyond that, kefir is an excellent source of calcium and vitamin K2, which is essential for strong bone health. Just like yogurt, make sure to choose plain, natural kefir without added sugars or artificial flavors. If the pure, tart taste isn't for you, simply mix in a few berries or a teaspoon of honey when you get home. Visual cue. Show a beautiful glass of kefir with fresh raspberries and blueberries slowly dropping into the drink. Let's shift gears from dairy and talk about vegetables. When it comes to gut health, superstars, our undisputed champion is sauerkraut. Yes, that humble food many of us grew up with. But we're only talking about cabbage prepared through natural fermentation, not the kind that is simply pickled in vinegar. During the fermentation process, lactic acid bacteria, which naturally live on the surface of the cabbage leaves, begin to multiply rapidly. They consume the natural sugars in the cabbage. The result is a powerhouse food absolutely packed with beneficial probiotics, particularly strains like Lactobacillus. This is truly a living food. What's more, fermentation doesn't just create probiotics. It significantly boosts the bioavailability of essential vitamins. Sauerkraut is loaded with vitamin C, vitamin K, and iron. It's also rich in fiber, a topic we'll dive deeper into in a moment. Look for this kind of sauerkraut in the refrigerated sections of the grocery store or at farmers' markets. Always check the label. There should be no vinegar listed in the ingredients. Even better, make it yourself at home. It's incredibly simple and cheap. All you truly need are cabbage, salt, and a little bit of time. Show a short, fast time-lapse clip of cabbage being shredded, massaged with salt, and packed into a jar for fermentation. Asterisk. The world of fermented foods is vast and goes far beyond just kefir and sauerkraut. Let's expand our gastronomic horizons, because the more diverse your sources of probiotics are, the healthier your gut microbiome will be. Next, check out kimchi. It's the spicy Korean answer to sauerkraut, usually featuring chili pepper, garlic, and ginger. It truly is a probiotic powerhouse. Another interesting option is traditional pickles. Crucially, we are talking about those cucumbers or tomatoes brined in salt water without any added vinegar. In Asia, staples include miso, a fermented soybean paste used primarily for soups, and tempeh, which is made from fermented soybeans. For those who prefer beverages, there is kombucha. This fermented tea boasts a delightful sweet and sour flavor profile. When selecting any of these products, one rule is paramount. Always look for the live, unpasteurized versions, because heat treatment kills those beneficial bacteria you're seeking. By incorporating a variety of fermented foods into your diet, you ensure your gut receives a wide diversity of beneficial microbial strains. On screen, show a vibrant kaleidoscope of different fermented products: colorful kimchi, miso soup, grilled tempeh, a glass of kombucha. So we've successfully deployed our probiotic troops into the gut. But what happens next? If you leave them unsupported, they won't last long. Our new residents need nourishment, and that nourishment is called prebiotics. They are a special type of dietary fiber that our bodies can't digest. But the beneficial bacteria in your large intestine absolutely adore them. Essentially, prebiotics are the fertilizer for your inner garden. If probiotics are the beneficial seeds, then prebiotics are the high-quality soil and feed that allow those seeds to truly take root, thrive, and multiply. Without enough prebiotics, even the best and most expensive probiotic supplements might be useless. Your good bacteria will simply starve, leaving room for those harmful pathogens to take over once again. That's why a successful restoration strategy is always two-pronged. We introduce the good guys, probiotics, and we feed them well, prebiotics. Where do we look for this magical food for our little friends? Show animation. Sad probiotic bacteria comes alive and cheers as a prebiotic molecule flies toward it. The primary source of prebiotics is fiber, also known as dietary fiber. You find it exclusively in plant-based foods, but not all fiber is the same. There's insoluble fiber, which acts like a scrubbing brush passing through your GI tract, completely intact. It cleans the intestinal walls and adds bulk, which is essential for maintaining regular bowel movements. Then there's soluble fiber, and this is the real delicacy for your gut bacteria. It dissolves in water, forming a thick gel-like substance that makes its way down to the large intestine. That's where your microflora enthusiastically feeds on it. Excellent sources of this type of fiber are whole grain foods. Start by swapping out white bread and refined pasta for their whole grain counterparts. Begin your day with oatmeal, but choose old-fashioned rolled oats that require cooking, not the instant, sugary packets. Barley, brown rice, quinoa, and buckwheat are all wonderful sources of prebiotic fiber. These ingredients will not only nourish your bacteria, but also provide complex carbohydrates, ensuring lasting satiety and steady energy without the sudden spikes and crashes in blood sugar. Visual. Screen comparison shot. Left shows white bread and pasta. Right shows whole grain bread, oatmeal, and brown rice. When we talk about vegetables, some are true superstars when it comes to prebiotic content. Garlic and all varieties of onions, white, yellow, leeks, and shallots, top the list. They deliver inulin and fructooligosaccharides, which are among the most researched and effective types of prebiotics available. However, especially if you're recovering from antibiotics, your digestive system might be sensitive. Don't rush into eating large amounts of raw garlic and onions right away. Start with cooked options. Try adding them to soups, stews, or roasting them alongside your other favorite vegetables. Another true champion is the Jerusalem artichoke, also known as a sunchoke. It is absolutely loaded with inulin. You can roast it, mash it into a puree, or slice it finely for salads. Asparagus is also an excellent choice. Not only does it provide beneficial prebiotics, but it's also rich in powerful antioxidants. Make an effort to incorporate these prebiotic-rich vegetables into your diet regularly. Even just a small amount of garlic or onion in your meal makes a significant contribution to your gut microbiome health. Remember that diversity is key to success. Rotate these different vegetables to ensure your beneficial bacteria get the full spectrum of nutrients they need. Visual cue. Show a still life of beautiful vegetables, a bunch of garlic, leeks, fresh asparagus spears, and Jerusalem artichoke tubers. Fruits and berries aren't just great sources of vitamins. They're also fantastic providers of prebiotics. Apples, in particular, are one of the best choices. They contain pectin, a type of soluble fiber that is actively fermented by beneficial gut bacteria. Pectin helps boost the growth of bifidobacteria and increases the production of butyrate, that crucial short-chain fatty acid. Butyrate feeds your colon cells and provides powerful anti-inflammatory benefits. Another amazing fruit is the banana, especially those that are slightly unripe and still have a greenish peel. They are rich in what we call resistant starch. Just like fiber, this starch isn't broken down in the small intestine. Instead, it arrives intact in the large intestine, where it serves as fuel for your gut microbiota. As the banana ripens, this starch converts into sugar. Therefore, if you're targeting that prebiotic effect, make sure you choose those slightly green fruits. All types of berries, raspberries, blueberries, strawberries, and currants, are also packed with fiber. Crucially, they contain high levels of polyphenols, which further exert a beneficial influence on your gut flora. Screen instruction: show an apple, a greenish banana, and a handful of berries being added to a smoothie blender. Legumes are the ultimate superfood for a healthy gut. Lentils, chickpeas, beans, and peas are fantastic sources of prebiotic fiber. They are packed with high amounts of galacto-oligosaccharides, or GOS, which stimulate the growth of beneficial bifidobacteria and lactobacilli. Furthermore, legumes are an excellent source of plant-based protein, which is essential for bodily repair, as well as complex carbohydrates, B vitamins, and key minerals like iron and magnesium. However, approach legumes with caution, especially when you are just starting your journey toward wellness. They can cause increased gas and bloating because your gut microbiome may not yet be accustomed to such an abundance of fiber. Start with very small servings, perhaps just a couple of spoonfuls of hummus or a thin lentil soup. Crucially, always soak dried beans and legumes overnight before cooking. This helps significantly reduce the compounds that cause gas. Slowly increase your portions, giving your gut time to adapt. Patience and consistency are your greatest allies. Show 3 beautiful bowls, one with cooked lentils, one with chickpeas, and one with red kidney beans. Now that we know what to add to our diet, it's time to talk about the things we need to ruthlessly eliminate. The #1 enemy, the main sponsor of all the bad guys in your gut, is sugar. And I'm not just talking about the white sugar you put in your tea. Hidden sugar is found in a huge variety of products: sweet drinks, fruit juices, baked goods, processed sauces, and instant oatmeal. Pathogenic bacteria, and especially yeast and fungi like Candida, absolutely love sugar. It is their primary fuel, allowing them to multiply at an incredible rate. Once antibiotics have wiped out the population of good bacteria that kept Candida in check, it can start actively taking over. If you continue to feed it sugar, you are essentially creating the perfect storm for a condition called candidiasis, which commonly manifests as bloating, intense sugar cravings, fatigue, and yeast infections. Therefore, minimize your consumption of added sugar during the recovery period, and ideally, long-term. Screen direction. Show animation of a sad, cute probiotic bacterium, while a malicious Candida fungus grows happily, consuming sugar cubes. Coming in second place on our stop list are processed foods and refined carbohydrates. These include white bread, refined flours, white rice, pasta made from high-grade flour, all kinds of crackers, chips, fast food, and ready-made meals. What's the major issue here? First, the processing strips away almost all the fiber, vitamins, and minerals. This means they offer zero nutritional value for your microflora. They are essentially empty calories. You might feel full, but your beneficial bacteria are starving. Secondly, these foods are broken down extremely quickly into simple sugars, causing a sharp spike in blood glucose. As we already discussed, this feeds the pathogenic flora, the bad bacteria. Thirdly, many processed items contain trans fats, preservatives, emulsifiers, and other chemical additives that can negatively impact your microbiome composition and trigger inflammation in the gut. Try to build your diet around whole, unprocessed foods, vegetables, fruits, whole grains, legumes, and high-quality protein. Cook your own meals. That way, you know exactly what's on your plate. Visual cue. On screen, draw a line, separating a basket of vegetables, grains, and fish from a pile of fast food packaging, chips, and baked goods. When people try to cut sugar, they often switch to artificial sweeteners like aspartame, sucralose, and saccharin. It seems like a logical fix, all the sweetness, none of the calories. However, recent research suggests that artificial sweeteners aren't the simple answer we thought they were. Some of them can negatively impact the composition and function of your gut microbiome. For instance, studies show they can shift the balance of bacteria towards strains linked to metabolic dysfunction and obesity. They can also reduce the count of beneficial bacteria, like lactobacilli and bifidobacteria. While the exact mechanism isn't fully understood, the crucial point is this. Even though they aren't sugar, these compounds still interact with our gut bacteria, and that interaction isn't always positive. Therefore, it's best to avoid them entirely, especially during periods of active gut healing or restoration. If you need a touch of sweetness, opt for a small amount of natural options like raw honey, maple syrup, or stevia. But remember, don't overuse those either. The best long-term solution is simply to gradually retrain your taste buds to enjoy less intensely sweet flavors. Visual cue. Show a hand tossing packets or containers of artificial sweeteners into a trash bin. Fats are an essential part of our diet, but not all fats are created equal. If you are working to restore your gut health or microflora, it's crucial to limit foods high in saturated fat, and especially trans fats. This means cutting back on things like fatty red meat, processed meats, margarine, fast food, deep-fried dishes, and commercially baked goods. Why are they harmful? Excess consumption of these fats can encourage the growth of bad bacteria that trigger inflammation in the gut. They can also compromise the integrity of your intestinal barrier, making it overly permeable. This state is commonly known as leaky gut syndrome. where the increased permeability allows undigested food particles and toxins to pass through the intestinal walls into the bloodstream, potentially causing systemic inflammation and even triggering autoimmune reactions. Instead, shift your focus to healthy unsaturated fats. Excellent sources include avocados, cold-pressed olive oil, nuts, especially walnuts, flax and chia seeds, and fatty fish, such as salmon, mackerel, or herring. These fish are packed with omega-3 fatty acids, which are known for their powerful anti-inflammatory benefits. Compare these two plates. On one, you have a greasy steak with French fries. On the other, baked salmon served alongside avocado and a fresh salad. Asterisk. And the final item on our list of things to avoid, one that people often overlook, is alcohol. After a course of antibiotics, your system, especially your liver, is already overworked. Alcohol just adds an extra layer of toxic stress. But more importantly, it directly impacts your delicate gut flora, or microbiome. Essentially, ethanol acts like an antiseptic, not just on the outside, but internally as well. It kills off both bad and good bacteria, completely undoing all your hard work to repopulate them. Regular alcohol consumption can significantly reduce the diversity of your microbiome, which is a clear sign of poor gut health. Alcohol can also damage the lining of your stomach and intestines, increasing permeability, potentially leading to a leaky gut. That's why during this crucial recovery period, which might take anywhere from a few weeks to several months, it's best to abstain from alcohol entirely. Give your gut a real chance to heal in a calm environment, free from unnecessary stress or chemical attacks. Instead of reaching for a glass of wine, swap it for a cup of soothing herbal tea or a glass of kombucha. Your body will definitely thank you for the extra TLC. Visual cue. Show a glass of wine being poured out, replaced by a beautiful cup of herbal tea. We've spent a lot of time talking about food, but we often overlook the simplest, yet most vital component of our diet: water. Adequate hydration is critically important for optimal gut health. First, water is essential for normal digestion and nutrient absorption. Secondly, it helps the soluble fiber we discussed earlier form that necessary gel, which then feeds our beneficial bacteria. Without enough water, fiber can actually have the opposite effect and lead to constipation. Thirdly, water helps maintain a healthy gut lining, or mucosal barrier. This mucus acts as a protective shield and provides a habitat for many beneficial microbes. Dehydration can quickly compromise this barrier. Finally, water is crucial for flushing out toxins and metabolic waste products. So, how much should you drink? The standard recommendation is roughly 30 milliliters per kilogram of body weight, but the best guide is your own feeling and the color of your urine. It should be pale yellow. Focus on clean, pure water and herbal teas. It's a simple, yet incredibly powerful step toward restoring your health. Visual cue. Show a glass slowly filling with clean, cool water. A slice of lemon or a mint leaf can be added for a refreshing visual. Let's add a splash of vibrant color to our diets. Polyphenols are powerful antioxidants found in plants, responsible for giving them their vibrant color, flavor, and aroma. For a long time, we thought their main benefit was fighting free radicals. But recent research shows they also play a crucial role in our gut health. The majority of polyphenols aren't absorbed in the small intestine. Instead, they travel down to the large intestine, where they become fuel for our gut microbiome. Beneficial bacteria break down these polyphenols, and in the process, They produce anti-inflammatory metabolites that are hugely beneficial for us. In return, the polyphenols actively stimulate the growth of good bacteria while suppressing the growth of the bad ones. So, where can you find them? Look for intensely colored produce. That includes all berries, blueberries, raspberries, and cranberries. Also dark grapes, pomegranates, and cherries. Don't forget green tea, cacao, and dark chocolate, specifically those with at least 70% cocoa content, and spices like turmeric and cloves. By incorporating a plant-based rainbow into your meals, you aren't just getting vitamins, you are actively and intentionally supporting your tiny internal helpers. Visual cue. Show a vibrant collage of polyphenol-rich foods, scattered berries, a bar of dark chocolate, and a cup of green tea. Another product that has gained superfood status for gut health in recent years is bone broth. It is made by simmering bones, cartilage, and connective tissue from animals or poultry for many hours. As a result, valuable nutrients that are difficult to source elsewhere leach into the broth. Primarily, this includes collagen, which breaks down into gelatin during the cooking process. Gelatin contains crucial amino acids like glycine and proline, which serve as essential building blocks for the entire body, most notably the lining of the gut. Bone broth is widely believed to help seal the notorious leaky gut, aiding in the restoration of the intestinal epithelial lining. It also delivers the amino acid glutamine, which serves as a primary energy source for intestinal cells and helps soothe inflammation. Bone broth is highly digestible and provides a calming effect on an irritated digestive system. You can sip it warm on its own or use it as a nutrient-dense base for soups and sauces. Show a beautiful ceramic mug steaming with golden bone broth. With all this talk about nutrition, a logical question comes up. Wouldn't it just be simpler to grab some probiotic capsules at the pharmacy and skip the hassle? In some cases, probiotic supplements certainly can be beneficial, especially if you're dealing with severe gut imbalance or specific issues like antibiotic-associated diarrhea. But there are a few crucial things to remember here. First, a supplement is not a substitute for a balanced diet. You still need to feed those beneficial bacteria with prebiotics. Second, the quality of supplements varies widely. It's essential to choose products from reputable manufacturers that clearly list the specific bacterial strains and their quantity in CFUS, colony-forming units. For recovery after antibiotics, strains like Lactobacillus rhamnosus, GG, and Saccharomyces boulardii are often recommended. Third, never take probiotics at the exact same time as your antibiotics. The antibiotic will simply kill them off. You need a gap of at least 2 to 3 hours. And most importantly, before starting any supplement regimen, it's best to consult a doctor who can help you choose the right product and dosage tailored specifically to your needs. Visual. Show several different probiotic bottles and a magnifying glass focusing on the ingredients list of one, highlighting the strain name and CFU count. And the final, yet arguably the most crucial ingredient in healing your gut, is patience. Your microbiome won't heal in a day or even a week. If you damaged it with a course of antibiotics, it now needs dedicated time to fully recover and rebuild its strength. Remember, this is a marathon, not a sprint. Don't expect instant results. In the first few days of dietary changes, you might even feel slightly worse. You could experience some minor bloating or changes in bowel movements. This is completely normal. Your digestive system and your microbiome are simply resetting and adapting to a new routine. The key here is consistency and dedication. Make beneficial foods the foundation of your diet, not just for a week, but long-term. Listen closely to your body. If a specific food causes obvious discomfort, temporarily eliminate it and try reintroducing it later in smaller, controlled amounts. This recovery process is highly individual and can take anywhere from a few weeks to several months. But the effort is absolutely worth it. A healthy microbiome is the foundation not just for better digestion, but also for strong immunity, clear skin, stable moods, and sustained high energy levels. Visual. Show a calendar quickly flipping through days and weeks. In the background, a vibrant green tree grows, symbolizing the recovery and thriving of the microbiome. Okay, let's wrap things up. Healing your gut after a course of antibiotics isn't just about grabbing a cup of yogurt. It requires a comprehensive, strategic approach. We need to attack this on 3 main fronts. First, we actively repopulate that damaged terrain with the good guys, powerful probiotics found in foods like kefir, natural yogurt, and other fermented products. Second, we need to generously feed these new residents their favorite meals, prebiotic fiber sourced from plenty of vegetables, fruits, and whole grains. And third, we declare war on the enemies, cut out the sugar, processed foods, and alcohol that actively feed and encourage the growth of bad bacteria or pathogens. But here is the critical takeaway. Your gut is your second brain, and it's the foundation of your entire immune system. By restoring it, you're doing much more than just getting rid of bloating and discomfort. You are boosting your mood, increasing your energy levels, lowering your risks for many chronic diseases, and strengthening your body's defenses for years to come. This truly is one of the best investments you can make in your long-term health. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you learned something new and useful today, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our upcoming videos. And make sure you click the notification bell. Now for a question for you. What is your favorite fermented food? Is it kefir, sauerkraut, or maybe something a bit more exotic like kimchi or kombucha? Share your favorites and any recipes in the comments below. Let's start swapping tips and experience.